What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about my 3-month results while taking the root. Many of you know I started taking the root on January 1st. I started out at 184 pounds and then after 3 months I got down to 174.2 pounds. So I lost 10 pounds, but I did see a lot of fat loss during that time. So 10 pounds might not seem like a lot, but I did lose inches. So there's that. And you can also see like in my face, I lost a lot. You can just tell I have a jaw. Here's the before and after. During that time, I took measurements every month and I used my little 90-day progress tracker, which was a lifesaver, honestly. If you are interested or want to use the tracker, I will link it below. You have space to track your weight, measurements, pictures, your consistency of taking Alipotec, like if you missed any days. There's monthly checkups, there's a space for a vision board for those 3 months and to write your goals. So I thought it was really helpful. I really liked it. And there you go. And then for those of you who don't know, I have been using Tejocote Root for like years now. I'm very much like on and off with it because I don't feel like the need to use it all the time. I started out at 221 pounds back in 2018 and then I got down to 173 at one point, which was like my lowest. So I'm like back to my lowest that I've ever been like since high school basically. So it feels good. I feel great. I feel so much better about myself and like the clothes that I can wear and fit into. And I think you'll know how it is when you try on your clothes and it doesn't fit how it normally does, and then, you know, but now I can wear my clothes again. But in this video, I wanted to talk about first my results, obviously, in those 3 months, what worked during those 3 months, and what I would do differently as well. Also, something to note is that I was still eating everything that I wanted to eat. I didn't restrict what I ate. I was also traveling a bit. I think every month I went somewhere and I still saw great fat loss. I was still trying to go to my Ligri classes 3 times a week. Sometimes I wouldn't make it to that many, maybe like 1 or 2 depending how I felt. And while I was traveling, I definitely wasn't working out, but like kind of walking if I was like traveling somewhere like Chicago, Boston, stuff like that. So I was still eating what I wanted to eat. I was still trying to stay somewhat active, but nothing crazy compared to when I was really trying to lose weight, when I wasn't taking the root and counting calories and trying to work out 5 to 6 times a week. And then when I was traveling, everything would kind of like go downhill because I'd want to eat what I wanted to eat. And like that just didn't really match the whole calorie counting thing. And so that's why using Tejocote Root has just been such a game changer for me, because I can eat what I want to eat, helps me eat less, helps me lower my cravings for this sugary stuff and crazy sweet tooth that I have, and you know, it's just effortless. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about results. So I went from 184 pounds to 174 pounds in those 3 months. After my first month, I had only lost like 2.2 pounds. Like I didn't lose anything, but I still lost like an inch around my stomach and my hip area. After the second month, month 2, I went from 181.8 pounds to 177.4 pounds. And I remember in that month, I had weighed myself just 2 weeks after my last weigh-in, and I had weighed that weight. So I had dropped that weight in like 2 weeks. I dropped like 4 pounds in 2 weeks, and then after that I had kind of stayed the same. And then my last month I lost another like 3 pounds. So in those 3 months I had lost, I'm like looking at my little iPad here with my info. So in my neck I had lost like a 1/4 inch, nothing crazy. My bust I lost an inch, sad. My arms I lost 1/2 inch. In my waist I lost 2.5 inches. My lower stomach I had lost almost 3 inches. My hip, I lost 1.25 inches. My leg, I lost almost 1 inch, and my calf stayed the same. So I definitely saw a lot of fat loss in my stomach, which is good because that's the area I was hoping to lose fat in. So that's always a plus. And during that time, I had taken XGaneem and the root. The root, I ended up missing like 7 days. 4 days were in a row. 3, I'd like here and there kind of forgot to take, or just like either I forgot to take the XGaneem, so I didn't want to take the root because I didn't want to feel like low potassium symptoms or something like that. So That's how important XGaneem is. This will really, really, really help you during the detox stage and to make sure you get enough potassium just during the entire time. In the beginning, I think I was taking like 2 a day, which I think was actually maybe too much for me. I'm not really sure. Or maybe I should have been taking more. I don't know. It's hard because like low potassium, high potassium symptoms are very similar. The first month of detox was rough, but XGaneem definitely helped me. So these 2 are definitely a lifesaver. I eventually ended up just taking 1 a day. Because the capsules have gelatin in them, I would empty the inside part of it and put it into vegan capsules. I know. But that's how much I wanted to use the product, because I still wanted to feel comfortable, like be vegan, but still use the product inside, because just there's so many benefits to it. So highly recommend this if you don't want to get the full trio, which this will also help you feel better during the detox as well, just to help get rid of toxins a lot quicker. So, and I was using this in the beginning. Okay, so what worked? What helped me lose that fat during those 3 months, during the whole bottle that I took? What I noticed helped a lot was when I drank a lot of water. And I'm there with you guys. I forget to drink water too sometimes. I am not that great either sometimes. But I'm telling you, if you start drinking at least like 3 liters a day, it's gonna make a huge difference. And it really did. Like, I noticed a difference when I was drinking a lot of water. Another thing I noticed is, at least when I made sure I had enough potassium in me, when I took larger pieces, I could tell just how much of a difference and effectiveness there was. But be careful with those larger pieces, because they are strong. They are strong. And you might not have the biggest appetite, but make sure you still eat. Things will be flowing and going with those big pieces. Those things work. The other thing that really works for me, like I said, taking XGaneem every day. At least trying to remember. So there's some days that I would forget to take it, and I would try to at least remember to take it before 3 p.m. Sometimes I wouldn't remember and like forget and kind of take it a little bit later in the day. This does give you energy, so that's why it's important to try to take it before 3 p.m. But this saved me. Another thing that helped me was that I started taking the root after dinner instead of after breakfast or lunch like it was in the beginning. Because I noticed when I was taking it after breakfast or lunch, then my stomach would be all rumbly, grumbly in the evening, and it just was uncomfortable and I didn't like it. This was the first month though, and this is when the detox was like heavy. But when I changed to taking it after dinner, even though you should be taking it after your largest meal, I can't remember like that. It's best to take it then, but do what works best for you. I take it after dinner, that way, which usually is my biggest meal, but take it after dinner and then kind of have some time laying around, go to sleep, wake up, and then it's just flow, done, good. And then it's like the rest of the day, we're good, we're feeling good, less bloated, it's all gone good. That's what worked for me. The next thing that worked for me was still being active. It's still really important, especially at the weight that I am now. It wasn't as important when I was over 200 pounds, because just taking the root by itself was really all I needed. I really didn't work out like a crazy amount. I was trying to work out like 3 to 4 times a week. Sometimes I would get up to the 4 times a week amount, but mostly it was 3 times a week, and it was like a 45-minute workout, you know. Still staying active is really important, especially for like just health in general, but just kind of having that extra burn definitely helps with fat loss and toning and everything in general. Another thing that worked for me was not having any restrictions on what I eat. I wouldn't eat like super fatty foods. Like, I don't have like fast food like all that often, but I definitely wasn't afraid of eating like the foods that I love, because I mean, I notice personally when I am very meticulous and like obsessive almost about what I eat and like how much I eat, And when I start restricting myself, that's when I kind of start falling back on old habits of like overeating and like going back to those foods that I was restricting and eating them even more, you know, just kind of like that unhealthy relationship with food. So I would still try to eat healthy foods, but I also wasn't afraid to go out and have dessert after dinner or make some brownies, have some cookies, you know. And I just love food, so just not having to restrict is really important to me, honestly. And another thing that worked for me was listening to my body, and if I felt any like kind of like low potassium symptoms coming on, or I forgot to take XGaneem, I wouldn't take the root. It is really important to be consistent, but more than that, I don't want to feel terrible. So if I felt like I wasn't getting enough potassium, I would, if I had time, make sure, you know, XGaneem if it was before 3 o'clock, drink extra water, stuff like that. Just like really listening to my body and like seeing what it needs. And if necessary, not taking the root that day. Is it going to slow down my results? Yeah, probably, but you know, there's give and take. And the last thing that worked for me was taking my pictures and measurements every month, because if I just relied on the scale, I wouldn't see this drastic change in fat loss and measurements and everything. If I had just gone based off of the scale and not taken any pictures, I would have gone by these 3 months and thought, 10 pounds, like, yeah, that's good, but probably could have been better, you know? But when I put my pictures side by side, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of change there. You can really see it, you know? So especially each month as you go on, if you feel like you're not changing on the scale, most likely you will see it in your pictures, because that's where you will notice fat loss. Okay, so what would I do differently? One, I would try not to miss so many days taking the root. And I know I just said that I would miss the root if I didn't take XGaneem, but I would try to be more on top of myself with taking XGaneem so that I don't miss taking the root, or I would just try to be like more on top of myself and just like not forget to take the root, you know, just stuff like that. Just trying to be like more consistent, which I'm always telling you guys to be. It didn't seem to like be too drastic of like a fallback. Like I still feel like I saw great results, but just imagine if I had taken it, like I missed a whole week basically taking it. Who knows the results I could have seen, but it's okay. Another thing I would do differently is I would start with 1 XGaneem a day. I think I might have started with 2 because I was just assuming from before that I needed 2 a day. So I just kind of started out with 2 instead of starting out with 1, which is what I recommend you guys doing. Sometimes I don't listen to my own advice and I don't know why. I would start with 1 and then kind of move my way up from there to know if I'm not getting enough potassium or what it is. Because if you start up high and you start feeling these low potassium symptoms, you don't know if it's low potassium symptoms or if it's high potassium symptoms, because they're so similar. So you don't know, do you need to cut back? Do you need to add more? So that's why I have you guys start on 1, so you know from there, okay, I need to add, you know. And then the other thing that I would do differently is I would have started taking the larger pieces in the first month. I think I was really scared of the detox in the first month, which it was a little bit rough. I just kind of started taking the smaller pieces, which is probably why the first month was pretty slow. But also I don't usually see results until like 1.5 to 2 month range, which is exactly what happened. But still, I would try to take some of the larger pieces and not like the super small pieces like I was taking in the beginning. And if you're really on top of your potassium and your water and taking alkaline, which will help you feel better throughout the process, you should be okay. But also don't push yourself, because again, those large pieces are very, very intense, very strong. So be careful with that. And you know, if one day you take a big piece and you feel like, whoa, it's a lot, then just take like a smaller piece the next day. And if you feel like you weren't eating that much that day, take a smaller piece. If you feel like you ate a lot that day, take a bigger piece, you know? Don't take a huge piece if you had really not eaten that much that day, because you will probably feel like shit. Just really listen to your body and think about what you're eating and how much water you're drinking and everything like that, because that can really affect it. Okay, so that's really all of the info I have on that. So far I'm still taking it. I'm kind of taking it like every other day, it feels like, or trying to take it every day, but I don't know, I'm kind of taking it when I remember now. Right now it's really still helping me with my cravings and not overeating, which I love, and I can just eat what I want. I've just been feeling great, so that's just kind of what I've been doing for now. So yeah, I think I'll just keep taking it for at least the next month, and then we'll see what I do. So far I'm feeling really great and kind of want to see where I can get. Yeah, that is everything, guys. If you have any questions about that, or you want to share your own experience on the root, definitely DM me or email me. I'd love to hear about it. Or you can leave it in the comments too. Would love for you guys to follow me on TikTok and Instagram, because you'll see me there more often, you know. So yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.